Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yuri Folarin. It's been quite a while, so I'm glad to be back. Nifemi did a fantabulous job. I was enjoying him from home, but then I had to come back. He was having too much of the fun. So, compliments of the season. It's never too late. It's we still got a few more days in January, but it hasn't let up. The tensions are the tensions. And the major tension we have today is the 7-day ultimatum having expired, the Ondo State government 7-day ultimatum that, criminal elements and the ultimatum to herders, criminal elements to please vacate and stop doing what they're doing. On the other hand, there's also the whole Oyo State affair with Sunday Igboho. That also is tension in its own right. We have our friend, Tony Ofoyeton, DG International Institute of Professional Security. He's on the phone. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning, Uncle Yuri. How are you today?
Great, sir. I'm fine, thank you very much. What's your analysis of the situation? You see, the security situation, as well, that's a very wide topic. But the Ondo State government, let's start with that. The 7-day ultimatum has expired today. There might be a bit of tension. You know that there are going to be meetings. Give me your take on this.
I think my first reaction would be to ask the federal government to be as empathic as possible and as supportive as possible. The federal government should also underline the choice of words of the governor, vacating forest reserve. To the best of my knowledge, forest reserve is a place where you are not, it is illegal to hunt there, it is illegal to farm there, it is illegal to stay there. Statutorily, forest reserve is not actually meant for anybody to habit. Having said so, now looking at the antecedents of what has happened in Ondo State that cumulatively led to the governor's decision, talking about the death of the daughter of Farson also, the kidnapping of Olufalaye, the burning of his farm on 2 different occasions, the several killings and kidnappings and all this stuff like that. And understanding very well that the habitation point of these people happen to be the forest. I think from intelligence, the governor took that decision. He has the statutory right to do that, and nobody also have right to stay in the forest. So what the governor has actually said is, come out of the forest. If you want to do your business in Ondo State, register with the governor, so that it will be easy for them to secure the state. It will be easy for them to differentiate between the criminal elements and those that are sincerely doing their business. And the least I expect from the federal government at that point in time is to support and not to come all out to say that the governor does not have rights to do all this and all this stuff like that. That is a boomeranging thing. Why I said it's boomeranging is because it emboldens the criminal.
Yeah.
Yeah. It gives the criminal the impression that they have federal government backing, and which is not good. If the government, the chief security officer of the state, has said that, look, based on the antecedent and what has been happening in the state, we are taking this decision. The least the government can do is to support, because if you don't support, at the end of the day, what you end up achieving will be the root of bitterness, anger. And we are not praying for violence. But when peace becomes inevitable, I'm sure that you also know that violence takes over. So if the governor has said, everybody come out of the forest, it's as good as saying everybody come out of the dark. Let me see you in the light, so that we know how many people we have and all this stuff like that. He's not saying leave Ondo State. what he's saying is leave the forest reserve.
Exactly.
Not even just the bush. It's a forest reserve. Not even farmland.
I don't know, Tony, one second.
Understand the phrase.
Yeah, maybe education of all the parties involved. Government certainly knows what a forest reserve is. It's self-explanatory by its very name. It's a reserve. It's to be protected. You can't go in there by definition. But there is this Nigerian thing where, never mind what the book says, we do things the way we've been doing it. Now, since the federal government, or the presidency, as one paper puts it, is driving peace talks between Southwest governors and Miyetti Allah, I don't know. That shows that they've got the federal government behind them, but do they realize that perhaps it's Miyetti Allah itself? We've spoken with them before. They are not ignorant. There are literate people among them. There are read people among them. So what's so difficult about understanding that a forest reserve is by definition a preserved area for future generations? I think that is the part of it that maybe some people with influence with these people needs to explain that you can't be in there.
You know, one thing there is that that brings to the second phase of the most probable narrative, which is to the extent that the reserve, of course, if you are calling for peace talk, now the question would be, what would you achieve at the end of the peace talk? Is it that those that are in the reserve should remain there? Now, if the answer is no, then there is no need for the peace talk, because the governor, as we speak, has not done anything that would be construed as being violent. It's a legal position, it's a legal statement, and I think one of the magistrate courts in Ondo State has also declared illegal anybody or anything staying in the forest reserve as we speak now. Now, that means that if the government or federal government rather is insisting, it means that it goes beyond the issue of Fulani rearing cattle in reserve. There, you don't rear cattle in reserve. I'm not too sure of that. Now, what the governor is saying is there are issues. There are criminal elements that are using there as their hideout. There is no need for peace talk. All I expect is basically support the governor to ensure that all criminal elements, if you want to be part of the team that will go to the forest, as to go to the forest, either to rake the forest, to ransack the forest, to ensure that whosoever and whichever body that is responsible for guarding the forest did not do anything illegal. I think it makes more sense for the government to say, okay, we will be involved in it, we will help you. We will partake in ensuring that all your forest reserves are cleared of all miscreants, of all illegal persons. But for Miyetti Allah and federal government to be on the same side against the governor, it shows that it is not just a matter of forest reserve or people rearing cattle in the forest. As far as I'm concerned, I look at it as if, look, you have stationed people to be there, and you don't want them to leave that place. And government is not saying they should leave that place. So let us do everything within our possible best to make sure that they don't leave that place. If the presidency is going to prove me wrong, all I want them to do is support the governor. Support all these governors that are saying, look, enough is enough of violence. It makes a lot of professional sense.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of narrative sense. In the absence of that, you keep hearing, we will keep giving different narratives. Some may be right, some may not be wrong. But government would have created room for ambiguous narratives.
Indeed.
And at the end of the day, it will help. Why? Because it will also breed violence. Because self-help will not come to play. You are seeing what is happening in Oyo State now.
In fact, I was going to come to that, Tony. Let's talk a bit about the whole Sunday Igboho affair. Where, a citizen apparently, not elected or anything like that, seems to have so much influence, and so much so that you can't look away from it. And he's actually giving ultimatums too. What do you think about that, and how this will be affecting government? Government usually is quite worried when people with such influence that can pull such crowds come on the scene.
I think there are different, my reluctance, I am not in support of Sunday Igboho giving authorization to people to vacate. He is not the governor of the state, and I don't think he has that constitutional power to do that. But having said so, you remember also that group of people called themselves Islamic whatever gives Reverend Father Kuka ultimatum to leave Sokoto state. But you see, the different approach is this. Sunday Igboho was ordered to be arrested, and the other group were not ordered to be arrested. I think that is one area that is a little bit different. You have a situation where Sunday said that a professor came to that community to set up a farm, and not the cattle rearers became destroyed his farm, and he went there to challenge the Seriki that, look, this was what happened. The next thing, one of them pointed a gun at him, and it ensued and turned into a fight. And the professor was killed at the accusation that the people have been paying ransom, and that the Seriki Fulani was the person that is always collected ransom. The least I expected the police to do was not to order for arrest, but to invite the Seriki and invite Sunday Igboho and see to what extent these allegations are true. Listen to both sides. And if it is ever true that the professor was actually murdered, who murdered the professor? When was he murdered? How was he murdered? Then you'll be able to indict those that are responsible, because that is the foundation and the genesis of the recent crisis as we speak now. Now, to that extent, you would have been able to be fair to both parties. But that the first thing the IGP did was to declare Sunday Igboho that he should be arrested and declare him wanted. As far as I'm concerned, I think it is not the best approach. He may have a better information, but I don't see it as a good approach. I think that if IGP can take pain to go to the village, if he can take pain to say, okay, let's see the Seriki, let's go and see the Seriki and the governor, and you are talking of the contest between the Seriki and Sunday Igboho, being a representative of his own community in his own right, and he feels very well that, look, these people are overstepping their boundaries in our community, and they are taking that step. For the sake of peace, both of them should have been invited and interrogated, and not that one declared wanted. Because the act of declaring one wanted now is obviously to the extent that the presidency or the IGP is biased and protective of the Fulani. That is the implication of that, which I don't think as a security professional is the best of any approach. I think it would have been fair that both of them are invited. The allegation that they are killing their wives and they are raping their wives, they are killing their men and collecting ransom. If you look at papers today, they said that as much as 15 million ransom has been paid, and up to 15 women have been raped. These are areas that the IGP should concentrate on, rather than take steps that would begin to
exacerbate the situation.
We are in support. ESCO is saying we are in support. The middle belt are saying we are in support of Sunday Igboho. For goodness sake, you are making a hero out of nothing.
Okay. Well, Tony, clearly a situation that requires a delicacy of touch because of some of the points that you've mentioned. Sunday Igboho, he's been now declared wanted. They're seeking to arrest him, which in it, that might be as far as the law is concerned, but it's not even-handed. There have been other groups, that have said that, that have said these kind of things, and they weren't arrested. Remember when a northern group, actually was serving notice on Igbos to leave, that they had to leave. Yeah. No, we haven't heard that those people, it was a press conference. Their photographs were all over the place. Nothing has happened yet. So I suppose we're going to have to be very, very delicate how our leaders handle this, right?
I agree with you, and that's my position too. Right. If not, so it becomes double standard. My first reaction was when the presidential spokesman came out to Sani or whatever his name is, came out all against the governor of Ondo State. I was like, are we sure we are in Nigeria? Yeah. Are we sure that the government is really interested in the protection of life and property?
Okay.
The primary purpose of governance is the welfare and security of the citizens. I think the president should be able to call it spokespeople to order.
Okay,
Because
Tony, we're going to have to leave it here now. Tony, I beg your pardon. I'm sorry. Thank you very much, Tony. We're going to have to leave it here, and thank you very much for your insight and analysis.
Thank you for having me.
Indeed. Yes. Tony Ofoyeto, DG, International Institute of Professional Security, on the phone there. So we'll wait on the outcome of the meeting. The presidency is driving, hoping tempers will be cooled, and so we can have some sort of a sensible meeting and remove some of those things that are confusing people, especially that of not being even-handed. What is good for the goose, people think, is only logical to be good for the gander as well. But if some people do something and nothing happens, and then some people do very, very similar things, and suddenly they're wanted and they're seeking to arrest them, we'll just see how all of that goes. Hopefully, wise counsel will prevail. Okay, the other thing that we were going to talk about today is the border closure that was the subject of conversation all along West African coast, especially with our neighbors and even inside the country domestically as well. Well, government around the middle of December did declare that we're open. Nigerian borders are open with, did they add with immediate effect? But you know what I mean, supposed to be open. Now, we hear that here we are, January is just about gone, and we are hearing that the borders have not yet been opened. We reached across to customs, they are certainly an interested party, whereas they didn't want to come on television, but the feelings we were getting from there is that this is an ongoing process. It's a work in progress. This doesn't satisfy someone like Alhaji Tajuddin Adetayo, who is a licensed customs agent and chair of Global Freight Forwarders Association. Alhaji, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
You say that it's not as if the borders are not open, but they're not open in the way that you would have expected. You say only foot traffic. Now,
yes, it's allowed, both from Benin Republic and from Nigerian side too. If cars, ordinary car with empty car cannot be allowed to go.
Is it that, since customs says that...
That is in the Diroko border, not Seme.
I was going to try and make that distinction.
Because at Diroko, there's movement at Seme border. They allow full movement. It has been open fully. But the Diroko border is partially open.
And how many borders are of interest to you? I mean, first of all, our president has said that all the borders will now be open. But what are the key ones that you think are... You said that Seme is fine.
Seme has been opened. But the issue on ground, if you want to look from the side of the perspective, Idiroko is one of the #1 border station in Nigeria. Even it was being operated before Seme border. So I don't see reason why they open Seme border and Idiroko border is not open fully.
Well,
we are paying duty too.
Yes, but they say, as I said, customs, maybe I don't know, they probably might, what I'm paraphrasing customs to have been telling us, they might not, I don't even know how much of it they want on record, but they say that, yes, the borders are open. They recognize that not all of them have indeed been open for business, but that it's a work in progress. If you were to try and cut them some slack, that is the Nigerian authorities, this whole matter about it being a work in progress and that they must be perhaps a bit organized about, does that wash with you? Does it make sense to you?
It doesn't make any sense, sir. You see, the issue on ground is this. Idiroko border is a border station too, whereby D2s are being allowed to bid. I don't see reason why they don't allow Idiroko to operate. They should allow Idiroko to operate.
Now,
it's a #1 station.
Now, is it possible, because we have the situation we have on our hands, is it possible for professionals like you, licensed customs agents, to then shift to Idiroko, if that's, I beg about to Seme, if that's how it's going to be, shift to Seme temporarily, since you have the assurance that the official word has come from government that it is open. Is that a doable?
When are they going to open it fully? This is where we are asking.
But instead of waiting, because this must be hurting your earning power, you know, there's so many businesses on both sides that just, you know, depend on the border being open.
All my own prayer is this. We pray that they should come to our aid. His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari is father of the nation. They should come to our own side too. An hungry man is an angry man. So if you come to our own side, the border is open, business continue to flourish. The community, the people living in the border, everybody will get it, will be able to get their own delivery.
When you say only foot traffic, that is to say, are you saying zero business?
It's zero business.
Or much reduced business?
No. Zero business. Nothing was being allowed. We have import, whereby they're in charge of importation. We have ETLS, Equal Trade Liberalization. We have valuation. All these offices are just there doing nothing. When there's no info ETLS, goods from West African countries, it's not yet allowed to pass top stock of importation for foreign land. Nothing is going on. It's just a dead border.
Okay. Let me, we have a report from our Kazim Olowe. It concerns immigration opening a new border kind of a post. Let's take that and then we'll come back and continue this conversation.
Okay.
As part of efforts to reduce border crimes, which include banditry, smuggling, human trafficking, among others, the Nigeria Immigration Service has inaugurated another forward operations base in Ilashe, Ogun State. The Comptroller General of the service, Mohammed Babande, led his officers to the base to carry out the exercise. He was welcomed by the guards of honor. He warned his men to avoid extortion and all acts of corruption at the border, noting that migrants with proper travel documents should be allowed at the nation's entry points.
I would like to state clearly that the Nigerian borders, as far as immigration is concerned, is open. Our land borders, air borders, sea borders are open. The only condition Mr. President has given us is that persons who want to enter or leave Nigeria, migrant and citizens of Nigeria must travel through the recognized port of entry and must travel with a travel document.
He also urged his men to ensure smooth relationship with other security agencies.
The gun and the boot is given to you to protect the country and the people, not to harass them. So I urge on officers to respect the people in this community where they are working. It is through that the traditional rulers will give you information. If they trust you, they will give you information. If they don't trust you, they will not give you information. But don't work with the criminals.
The governor of Ogun State, Dapo Abiodun, who was represented by the Commissioner for Tourism in the state, urged the federal government to continue to support the Nigerian Immigration Service and other agencies at the border in order for them to perform effectively.
The Nigerian Immigration Service, therefore, should be provided with necessary tools and gadgets to continue to perform its constitutional roles effectively and efficiently. Therefore, there is a need to structure our security architecture in such a way that we encourage orderliness, regular and safe migration.
The event was attended by notable monarchs in the state, including Olu of Ilaro and paramount ruler of Yiwo Land. Kazim Olowe, TVC News, Ilashe.
Okay, there you have it. I don't know how much more it clarified what we're talking about, because the Ilashe station, the Ilashe base...
Ilashe is just about 10 kilometers to Idiroko. It's a border station.
Which is not open.
Which is not open.
Fully,
that is Idiroko border. It's not open fully.
Yes, that is for all traffic.
For business or everything. Even car, ordinary car cannot cross over.
But you just heard the government or the head.
Migration said it's open fully.
Yes.
But what of customs? Customs have never allowed it to be open fully. So I'm using this video to call on the Controller General of Nigerian Customs Service, Mohammed Ali, retired, to come to our aid. Even the Minister for Finance. Everybody should come, gather together. We should enjoy the democracy, enjoy the fullness of democracy. They should be allowed. We should be allowed to do our own business too.
Okay, we also have Mr. Dr. Mabinuri on Skype, I believe. Okay, there you go. Good morning, Dr. Thank you very much for making time for us.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
It's nice being here again.
Indeed. Look at the situation we have on our hands. The authorities are saying that we are indeed, all our borders are open, but you know, we can say that you have to accept places like Idiroko, for example, which is not fully open, as I'm being told by Alhaji Adetayo here, who actually, he works there. It's not the same as Seme, which indeed is fully open. But you just heard the head of immigration there saying that as far as we are concerned, all the borders are open. Government has said we are open fully from middle of last month. Here we are still dragging the matter. What do you think is going on?
I think the major problem we have in Nigeria is, let me just say, shared responsibility on the part of government agencies. It's just like when pump price is increased, immediately you see the filling stations will adjust upward almost immediately. And when the price actually comes down, you see them giving excuses for not dragging it down. And nobody will actually sanction them for such irregularity or such misbehavior. And the same thing is what we are seeing at the border. When the border was locked, we have seen people that are building, some corrupt custom officers or some people at the border making millions of naira on a daily basis as a result of assisting people to cross illegally. Now that the border is opened, or the government has made the pronouncement that the border should be opened, they see that as an end to their illicit activity. So to a very large extent, they will be reluctant in following that order almost immediately. In the first instance, I think the border closure shouldn't have even been what we should experience. I mean, we should do. It's a costly experiment that Nigeria shouldn't have done. It's like curing eczema, living leprosy.
I think it froze. We'll see that opportunity to go on a quick break, but when we come back, we'll continue with Dr. Mabinuri. Stay with us, please. Okay, welcome back, and we still have Dr. in addition to Alhaji Tajuddin Adetayo, licensed custom agent in studio, who is saying that we are on the front line and the borders are not fully open. If you take out Seme. Seme is fully open, but not Idiroko. Dr. Mabinuri, financial analyst, is also on there. Now, there's that aspect, because this whole thing was hurting business. And now, you had said that perhaps it's irresponsibility on the part of certain governmental agencies. I don't quite understand it, because before they were ordered closed, they were functional. There were people there. Now that we closed it, and then in the fullness of time opened it, why are our people, the officials, the professionals, not able to man those borders? And it's not hidden. It's a public matter. Custom knows, therefore, as far as I'm concerned, government knows, yet this situation prevails. What do you think is going on beyond the irresponsibility, in quotes, that you had thought, Dr.?
Okay, for me, the principal factor is the irresponsibility that I've said earlier, because if we have, if we are responsible enough as a government or as a people, we should respect government pronouncements and carry it out almost immediately. But a case where people say nothing will happen and truly nothing will happen, we surely will have a problem like this. We've all seen that, as I was saying the other time before the advertisement came up, the issue of the border closure is, for me, is a government was ill advised, because we actually don't need the closure of border. And the other time, let me just try and bring up the economic implication of this before now going to the physical closure. And one of the economic implications, they just not too very recently, our former Minister of Finance, Grazing, was nominated as World Trade Organization, and we saw that being blocked by United States of America. This is not unconnected with our border closure, and I bet to let me try and explain that. The reason being is, World Trade Organization, the primary objective of World Trade Organization is economic integration and free trade among member states. So if a body that a Nigerian wants to head is the body, is the so-called body promoting free trade, and we are here locking our borders against our immediate community. For me, to a very large extent, there is a big contradiction there, and I can see maybe these are the factors that the United States put together, and then they say that are not endorsing Grazing. I feel at this juncture the government should put in other measures in curbing even importation of rice, illegal activities or illegal importation of rice or other food items into the economy. If you notice, according to United States Department of Agriculture, it is estimated as far back as 2019 that our domestic consumption of rice is 6.7 million 6.7 million tons on a yearly basis, but our production is 3.7 million. So you can see we still have a gap deposit of about 3 million metric tons of rice not being met on an annual basis. And as a result of blocking the land borders, we have seen that the food inflation, as at December, for instance, our inflation was 15.75, with food inflation being 19.56. That is the highest in the over the last 3 to 4 years. So this means that we are not food security has not been guaranteed, and we are talking about food sufficiency. First, food security is access to food. Then food sufficiency is being able to feed ourselves without importation from any country. So we have not achieved food security. We are trying to achieve food sufficiency. It's like a child that wants to run without crawling. So locking the border is we want to run, and I say we want to run without walking first. Have we been able to feed our 200 million Nigerians before, say, we want to close our borders to the foreign economy? And again, it is also a contradiction to AFCFTA, that is African Continental Free Trade Agreement that we just signed recently, and which kicked off 1st of January this year. We are saying African economy, it is a population of 1.2 billion, 2 billion people with a combined GDP of $2.4 trillion, that all of us should trade together freely, and we are saying we are locking our borders to our immediate countries. That is, we have the Republic of Benin, we have Niger, Chad, and then Cameroon. We are locking our borders to them, and yet we are signing African Continental Free Trade Agreement. For me, that's a very big contradiction, and I think at this juncture the government should sit down and look for other ways of curbing illicit or let me say smuggling into the economy rather than using sledgehammer to kill unarmed.
Let me bring that point, Dr. to Alhaji Tajuddin Adetayo here. This matter of the borders are closed for all the reasons the government cited, using us as a dumping ground, repackaging and rebagging rice, for example. But our market reportedly, allegedly, is flooded with what would therefore be contraband rice. How is this happening? Borders are closed, they're not opening. Here you are complaining, yet they say market is flooded with
It's not the issue of border. If border is being closed, the government is trying to encourage smuggling. If border is opened, you allow duty payment. At least we paid duty on rice before. You do pay rice, you pay 3,500 naira per bag.
Yeah.
As a duty on rice.
But now,
even this regime of Colonel Ahmed retired, we pay duty.
Let me take a phone call. I beg your pardon for interrupting me. Good morning, Mr. Joshua in Irewolide.
Good morning and Happy New Year to you.
Good morning, sir.
I just see you.
Compliments of the season, indeed.
Okay, and I greet your guest.
Yes.
This border thing, please. there's a presidential order that should be open. So if the custom people are sleeping, let them wake up. I don't think we should be flogging that matter again. I think of you. Let me take the opportunity of talking to the first topic, which is the hot thing.
The security detention.
Yeah, please, I don't know why a federal government will appear to be backing criminality. The statement of Garba Shehu is unfortunate, and it shouldn't have happened at all. I think the presidency should look at it very well. I don't think it has the hand of the president in it. I want to see that with the rate of insecurity we have had in the land, federal government should be interested in supporting states to solve that problem, not antagonizing them. Mm-hmm. Why would a federal government spokesman be challenging a governor on issue of, giving orders for a reserve to be protected?
I hear you, Mr. Joshua. I'm going to have to interrupt, please, but thank you very much for calling in, giving us your comments on the first topic. And in relation to this one, that the agencies, the government agencies just need to, as he put it, wake up. What is preventing them from functioning the way they can?
The issues on customs hand, it was a circular directed from the CG office that said no goods should be allowed to pass through land border. Why? It should give us reason.
You mean since opening?
Since opening.
That circular has come
to customs that no goods should be allowed to pass through the Iroko border.
So what should be allowed to pass? Anything at all? Or nothing?
No.
In short, no goods?
No time, no government will allow smuggling to come to his country.
So no goods?
So what we are saying is that legitimate goods.
We don't have that
we have what we call import prohibition.
Yes.
It's only the import prohibition that is not allowed to come in, that cannot pass through the border.
Well, we'll have to bounce this back off customs because if government, the presidential order no less, opened up the borders, I don't know.
Please,
I'm a bit confused. I don't think the head of customs would then issue a counter instruction.
Customs should come to our assistance on this issue.
I think that's the point.
Should come to our assistance. Even the CG, Nigerian Customs Service, Mohamed Ali, retired. He's a man of his word. He should come to our assistance. They should allow the goods to be going.
Thank you very much.
They should be going on in the border.
Well,
this is what I'm saying.
Alaji Adetayo, thank you very much. Licensed Customs Agents and the chair of Global Freight Forwarders Association. They are crying out, professionals are crying out, we can't go about our business and we don't understand what's going on. It seems to be their plea. The president has ordered borders reopened. I just heard from him, we'll be able to double check this very, very shortly, that the head of customs has then said that nothing should be allowed to pass. Seems highly improbable, but we'll get to the bottom of it. Thank you very much, Alaji.
Thank you, sir.
Alaji Adetayo, for coming on the program.
Thank you.
Okay, stay with us, please. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. And my guest this time is Dr. Tuyi Mebawadu, public health expert. He's one of the experts that we've turned to in relation to COVID-19. And so good morning to you, sir. And, and welcome to the program. And can I just quickly take a time off to thank Oladotun Mabinuri, financial analyst, on our last segment. So rude of me. Forgive me. I didn't even say bye-bye. So sorry about that, Dotun, and thank you very much for coming on. So Dr. Mebawadu, public health expert, coming back to the matter of public health. Governor Sanwo-Olu's, he made a statement yesterday, and the long and short of the statement was actually people have been worried about how we're going to vaccinate, or administer the vaccine to everybody. He's mindful of his own 20 million citizens in Lagos State. And he was giving us the explanation that actually you don't need to reach every last one of the 20 million people, that if you get 50% of that, something like a herd mentality would be the objective, and that could take over. Could you just further explain that a bit, please?
Essentially, let's even commend our governor for trying to take the initiative to look at how to, get an overreach, think beyond the narrow thing that, we're waiting for 100,000 vaccines, which is going to vaccinate 50,000 people, which will be quite
because of the 2 doses thing.
Because of the 2 doses. Now, Lagos, FCT, Kaduna, Plateau, those are really probably the epicenters. But Lagos and FCT are actually the epicenters of this virus. So we expect at that level that, you know, the authorities, the leadership there should be able to take the initiative to ensure that as much as many people in those 2 centers get, you know, vaccinated when the vaccines finally comes. And that is why, you know, having that kind of discussion before the arrival of the vaccine is most important, you know, and most needed. Now, but again, there are obstacles, you know, because number one, the people producing the vaccines have the certain number they can produce. That's one. Secondly,
but they say they're upgrading. I think it was Pfizer that said it's been upgrading its facilities to because of the additional demand worldwide.
You know, you are looking at about 7 billion people. That's huge. And then, secondly, for us to actually get to the point of saying that, okay, we're safe in a way, and try to reverse all these negative indices, we must have gotten what we call the herd immunity. We're looking at as much as 70% vaccination.
70%?
Yeah, we have to go
more,
that far.
More than 50%.
So more than 50% vaccination. So now, some people get their immunity through the infection, either some subtle infection or active infection, depending on the rate. Some will get their immunity through that process. The question we've not been able to answer for now is to say, okay, how long after an infection with COVID does your immunity last? We'll answer those questions as the narration goes on. I mean,
well, okay, you say we'll answer that question as the narration goes on.
But science,
you know,
the
science seems to be saying, and please, you're the man of science, it seems to be saying it's not good for anything more than 5 months after, at least that's one scientific account.
It's still unfolding. It's still unfolding. So then, how
so it's still unfolding.
Yes.
How long? Effectively, we don't know how long that immunity will last after completing.
After infection. After infection, when someone is infected with COVID,
yes,
you're supposed to have some level of immunity. How long does that immunity last? How long will
that
it
is having been successfully treated?
Yes.
Okay.
Or maybe somehow the person was able to curtail the virus and prevent the severe form of the disease. Now, the second aspect is that, okay, you're going to give vaccines, okay, 5 months, you have to repeat again or what? So the dynamics are quite fluid, and that is why, you know, for a country like us, for an environment like our own, and of our own social distancing, we need to push for those non-pharmaceutical interventions. Good enough, a lot of drugs have been on, cocktails have been on trial to see whether they can help to prevent the development of full-blown COVID-19. So when those things come, then it becomes very good that we can use something that can protect us instead of waiting for vaccine. That would definitely be cheaper, more affordable, more effective.
You know, a lot of people are doing exactly what you are saying in an individual capacity. The internet is awash with videos of all sorts of things, natural cures. You find things like ginger being mentioned, you know, vitamin C, vitamin D, all of these things that, look, they don't actually cure COVID, but they do your immune system a favor, and that at the end of the day might be useful when you need to fight off. So a lot of people are doing that. Are you saying, doctor, that all these concoctions, mixes, elixirs that people are doing, that you'd like to see government also get in on that act?
We don't, in science, we don't do concoctions and mixes and all those things. We'll work with evidence. What I'm expecting is that for us to aggregate evidence at the level of scientific thinking.
Of what works.
Of what actually works. So because if you don't aggregate evidence, then it becomes such a challenge that everybody will come with its own formulations, which can be harmful, which will not be appropriate for another person. So I know recently the vice president actually inaugurated a team that was supposed to look at some medication, you know, that may help. So let's wait and see, because you see, science is about patience.
Okay, one moment, sir. Mazi Okoroafo has come on the line. Good morning, Mazi.
Good morning, sir. Happy 2021.
Compliments of the season,
welcome,
sir. Thank you.
Good morning, our guest.
Good morning.
I want to find out from our guest. Doctor, you see, this vaccine we are talking about, the government is still making comments. But people are saying that in Nigeria today, that we don't have that question of maybe the refrigerator that can last for that number of hours. Because what we have today in Nigeria is just this Tokumbo and fairy juice and the rest. And the type of refrigerator is great. And secondly, when you're talking about immunity, adults, what type of food do you think is good for an adult to be taken to boost his or her immunity? And people are saying that ginger, garlic, cucumber, carrot, and the rest. What's it? Because the essence of this program is to educate Nigerians to know more about and how to, not only to prevent, or how to save their own life, and to save their own their own system.
Indeed.
So that they will not contact this disease. Thank you very much. Have a blessed day.
Thank you very much, Mazi. A lot of Nigerians, no doubt, like people around the world, will be dreading catching COVID-19. They say tests are 50,400 just to do the test, 50,400 naira. Which Nigerian, how many Nigerians can afford that? So our interest is in doing everything to not catch it. That includes all the protocols, distancing and all of that, but specifically to what you actually ingest. Would you like to address that question?
Matter of fact is that if you eat nutritious food, your body then uses it to make immune system. Of course, majorly, your fruits and vegetables come, very, to the front, to the fore in terms of the consumption. You have to actually take a lot of fruits, vegetables, if you tolerate, because some people don't tolerate some type of food, okay?
Yeah.
Once you tolerate those fruits and vegetables, have a mixture, different colors, cut it on your table. I wish I can show some of my diets, you see carrot there, you see cucumber there, you see garden egg, you see all those things,
and if for any reason you can't do all of that, maybe supplements. Because people have made a whole lot of noise about vitamin D, for example.
Listen, because the truth is this. If you put all those things together, you'll be surprised that the cost is not that really astronomical, so expensive like when you have to buy expensive supplements here and there. Because you must think in terms of your locality and what is. So, first of all, eat healthy. It is very key. Because mix all those foods, you understand? If you cannot afford to buy a lot of meat.
Sorry, doctor, we've completely run out of time, but maybe we'll expand on this. Eat healthy. That's the important thing.
That is key.
Eat healthy is key. Dr. Tui, maybe I want to do public health expert. We didn't even get into the matter of it's easier to catch this than the first wave and all of that. But I'm sure we'll talk about all of those things in a subsequent program. Thank you very much for coming on the program. Indeed, and really, that brings us to the end of the program. Thank you very much for being with us. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folani, fresh from vacation. Good morning.